I almost bought a cheap bead roller off Amazon last month, you know the ones, the $200 imports that look the same in the photos. 2 weeks later the frame started flexing under pressure, the dies didn't line up right, and the guy in the comments thread was begging for refund forms. That's the moment I decided to save up for the Woodward Fab 42-inch professional power bead roller instead. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. This isn't the kind of tool you impulse buy on a whim. If you're only rolling a handful of quarter panels a year, a Harbor Freight knockoff might get you by. But if you're turning door skins, patch panels, or full rocker sections on a regular basis, the extra width and power start to matter fast. The 42-inch throat gives you room to work on a pickup bed without wrestling the sheet every time you flip it, and the 12-gauge steel frame doesn't feel like it's doing yoga under load. I set it up on a sturdy workbench in the garage, bolted it down, and ran a 20-gauge mild steel patch through the first pass. The motor pulled it smooth, no stalling, no smell of overheating. That's the difference between a hobby-grade tool and one built for daily use. The bead roller itself is just the starting point. Woodward includes a set of free tooling that covers basic beads, flanges, and shrink dies. You're not stuck ordering extra punches the first week you own it. Where the value really shows up is when you're doing a full cap replacement or a custom wheel tub. I recently used it to shrink a 16-gauge inner fender on a '72 Chevy. The 42-inch throat let me keep the panel flat on the table while I worked the bead, so the curve stayed consistent from front to back. If I'd tried that on a 24-inch budget roller, I would have been fighting half the panel lifting off the bed every time I cranked the handle. One thing that surprised me was the noise level. Even with the shop doors closed, it's loud enough that I had to wear ear protection, but it's not the chainsaw scream some cheaper units put out. The motor is balanced well enough that vibration isn't traveling up the frame into your hands, which makes a difference on long jobs. The biggest practical limitation is floor space. This thing weighs close to 150 pounds and measures about 5 feet long when the arm is extended. If your garage is already tight, you'll need to plan the layout so you're not constantly moving it out of the way. I mounted mine on a rolling cart so I can wheel it against the wall when I'm not using it, but that adds another $120 to the setup cost. Another trade-off is the learning curve. The manual is decent, but the dies aren't labeled with inch measurements, so you end up making test runs on scrap until you dial in the right spacing. If you've never used a bead roller before, budget an afternoon to get comfortable with the pressure settings and die changes. Who should buy this? If you're a DIY restorer turning more than a few panels a year, or a small shop doing sublet bodywork, the extra width and power save you time and frustration. It's also a solid choice if you want to expand into custom fabrication door skins, hood scoops, even small body sections without fighting the tool. Who should skip it? Weekend warriors who only roll a fender once every couple of years will be better served by a smaller, lighter unit. The same goes if you don't have the space or the budget for a dedicated cart and extra lighting. The only real downside I've run into is die storage. Woodward ships the tooling loose in a cardboard box, so unless you 3D print a holder or weld some pegboard, the punches end up scattered in a drawer. It's a small gripe, but after a few months of digging through bolts to find the right die, you'll wish they'd included a simple rack. All told, the Woodward Fab 42-inch professional power bead roller is the kind of tool that pays for itself in saved labor and frustration. It's not cheap, but it's cheaper than buying 2 cheap ones and still ending up with a wobbly frame. If you're serious about bodywork, this is the one to lock in. Check it out using the link in the description.